a landowner's primary responsibility to keep their own drainage systems free of debris. Should it be the county that comes in and cleans up private property? It should be private property owners keeping it clean themselves. And so what this proposed ordinance does is it places that burden on the private property owner, and it states that if they fail to keep drainage areas, rivers, streams that traverse their property, if they fail to keep that clear of debris, then the county can declare that a nuisance, then actually go on, clean it up, and charge them for it, as with any other nuisance.
Is that ordinance in March yet, or?
Because it's in a nuisance ordinance, that makes it so we can send a bill if we go in and do this. So
Well, exactly right. It makes, for lack of a better word, a lazy homeowner, a lazy property owner who doesn't bother to go and clear out the drainage areas of their property, makes them liable, if you will, to the county. If the county has to go in and clear the debris out from their property. It states, I think truthfully, that if you don't keep drainage areas clear of debris, and if you create a flood danger, a flood risk, well, that's a public nuisance, because it could damage potentially not your own property, but could spill over into your neighbor's property and flood them. And if you fail to keep debris out of your drainage areas, then that's a nuisance. And the county, after giving you proper notice, can go in and clean it out for you and send you a bill.
if it's only going to flood your own property, then the county just stands back?
Well, remember, floodwaters are unpredictable, right? And we never know for sure where the water's going to go. But any high water year creates a risk for everybody in the area, not just that property owner, but for everybody who surrounds them, because water's just unpredictable. We don't know for sure where it's going to go, except that we do know if we keep drainages clear, then the water's going to run where it has always run, right, or where it typically has run. And so the purpose of the ordinance is to put more of a responsibility on the property owners to just keep their own drainage areas clear.
Well, historically, you know, we've seen damage, we've seen roads wash out, and ultimately that's our responsibility, just like with our emergency declaration this spring, is trying to keep roads open, bridges from being damaged, and access to higher ground, access to safer, you know, I mean, like you said, it's unpredictable, and the liability of moving a bridge and that, and having people trapped on the wrong side of that, you know, is a thing. And so, unfortunately, this is kind of forced on us, but there's some landowners that should be held liable for certain things too.
So this ordinance might make more sense if you saw it contrasted against our existing ordinance. It's a long shopping list, if you will. It says a nuisance includes any of the following, and then it lists A through N. A through O, just a whole bunch of different scenarios, which includes, you know, stagnant water, or, you know, keeping refuge or debris or old abandoned cars or whatever, right? And so this says, included among the definition of nuisance is, letter P, failure of a landowner to clear or remove debris that may create a risk of flooding, including but not limited to fallen trees, limbs, branches, or other materials, which may impede, block, or obstruct the flow of water in a flood drainage area, river, stream, or other waterway traversing the landowner's property. If you need more time to think about this, that's okay. We don't have to adopt it today. But I brought it before you because use it as advising.
You have any other questions?
I really don't want this. I don't want to do it.
I have a few questions myself. I think
Oh, we can take
some
some time, that's all right, we can take some time, you don't have to adopt it today.
I think it helps us in areas, and then it might hurt us in other areas.
Okay.
I think we need to discuss a little further.
All right.
Okay.
I appreciate the, you know, I'm not saying that I don't like the thought that we have to do something like this. I think as the county's, kind of like anything else that we do, we're doing it for the benefit of all people. And, you know, we've had the best of intentions, everything that we've done in the past and we plan on doing in the future to prevent, property damage and liability to people. I know there's a lot of people that can't afford this individually. And so I want to sit on that, I want to table it and look at it again.
Okay, that's right.
I mean, even if you declare a nuisance, or you went in and cleaned up, you don't necessarily have to send a bill, or do you have to send a bill every time you do that now?
We have discretion not to do that, but I would say that this would mandate, this would give you the option of doing so. Yeah, this is geared towards the most problematic of landowners who, after repeated warnings and repeated, notices, just refuse to do it. But I think most people are reasonable. Most people don't want to flood out their property, their neighbor's property. And most people will accept help. If the county volunteers to go across a person's property and help them clean out their debris that's creating a nuisance to their own and other properties, most people will do that. So this is really just for the really unreasonable people out there that don't care about the damage they're going to cause to their neighbors or to roads or bridges or other infrastructure.
Well, if you really want to sit on it, let's just table it, then we'll come back.
Sounds good?
I think we should.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
We're gonna table that.
Thanks for your work, though, I
We're gonna
appreciate
table
it.
that for now.
Absolutely.
Allison, come on up. All right. Actually, we're gonna take a 5-minute recess.
You can prepare, give us all your stuff.
Thank you, Alice.
So I actually got miscommunication about the meeting times, but I'm the new specialist with Beaver. I'll just hear it. So I was told 9, I guess the other meeting is at 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's what she.
Oh, the first
Yeah.
hearing.
Yeah.
That's a
So I'm taking over the
time.
administrative over in the Pine Valley area, or also kind of north of Lawrence. So I don't know if you've ever met Rebecca Shotwell. Yeah. But I'm basically taking over for her. Good.
That's the cool spot to stand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, four-person station right there. But yeah, it's crazy.
Most of the time on those courses, you can see the finish line, like the start and the finish line.
And that's it. No,
And
this
they're
is
like, but
3
then
layers.
You can like, she like the co-sign experience to get co-sign.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah, people were walking all over down into the foothills so that they could have different vantage points. But if you stand just due west of the finish line, you can literally see like 4 races going at one time, and you can see them in their paths. In different spheres. It's so cool. It's so cool.
I'm sorry.
Well, next year, actually, there's a possibility we would have a college level race on the 29th. So it may be worth coming out and seeing that. Now, it's different organizations, I don't know how put together they're going to be with how the event, but typically, the show is pretty well orchestrated, so. Yeah, Jason's been just leading heavy into that charge, so it's just a matter of finding the right head coach. Yeah.
Because you said it's not UHSAA.
Correct.
It's not under that.
It's its own.
It's its own entity, but then schools have teams.
Yes.
So it's just
And
a little bit.
you can charter the way you want, so like Iron County is an Iron County team, but other high schools have decided we want to have our own individual. So like in St. George, Copper Hills has their own, 3 or 4 different high schools. Pleasant Grove and American Fork have their own team, that's as far north as it goes. Saratoga Springs has their own team, but they're in a different region, so.
My cousin was on the American Fork team 2 years ago, he graduated, you know, but.
Cool. It's insane. So I was thrilled, you know, like being the so,
Yeah.
hey, guys.
Thank you for bringing those.
Good. Did you have a great time?
Yeah, a lot of people.
Excellent, there was a
I
lot of
went once
people.
for a while.
Good, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't want to see that.
But it was like 3 weeks ago.
Crazy, huh?
Coming out.
I know, it was insane. Thrilled, we're thrilled with how it went, so. In fact, I'm actually gonna do a little bit of an update here in a little bit, so. No, please, welcome to, welcome to sneak in. It's very, very good, yeah. Yeah, it's great.
I better go pedal it. I was like, I'll go by myself, and nobody can see me eat crap if I fall off of the course. But yeah, so we're pretty excited with how everything turned out.
We did all that, and then I left my two days later. Good, I'm so glad. Yeah, we keep getting like really good feedback, so that's great.
Like, you didn't tell Jen Marshall to be here, did you?
No, that, I probably should have, that was my fault.
Ready to start, Andrew?
And I don't know, I guess I'm meeting at 11, Commissioner, I just don't know, should I speak to you?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll text her.
Okay, because I left my phone home. Oh, I hate that. I know, I'm like.
Sometimes that's on purpose, right?
I know, well, it wasn't on purpose.
I know, but
I had to go
sometimes you
talk
like
about
to.
the family goodbyes, and I ran into get this, and then I'm like, oh, shoot.
All right, we're back in session, or we're back in our meeting, whatever you want to say, how you want to say it. Allison, for the county fair report, so go right ahead. Thank you, first off, thank you for all you do for the county fair. It's a huge task, and you and your staff and everybody that is involved does a great job every year, so thank you for me.
Well, and that's what I first want to start off with and say thanks to the commissions and all the county staff. I know Ginger and Tracy might not like
There's a
to
lot of
see
people involved.
walk in my stack of checks or this or that, but everybody's so great to work with, and I really feel like our county fair is just awesome, and that's why I'm still doing it after 15 years.
15, the big 15.
Was my, yeah, this year was 15. Pretty crazy.
Bless your soul.
We should have got you a sticker, because I've been doing this for 15 years. I'll have that for next year.
So feel like I've helped it grow, you know, but thanks the commissioners for being willing to invest in the fair, because it doesn't happen without, funds. But I just did a quick rundown. You can see some of our big donors, the shoot sponsors. We had Fergo this year and Murdoch Dental, and, the livestock donors. You know, we had 20 people donate buckles so that the kids can win, and next year they would actually like to add 9 more so the reserve champion can get a buckle. So we're going to be looking for another $1,000 worth of, and that's all donations. That does not come out of the fair budget. So, you know, we, if you look down for the revenue, we've got the vendor booth brought in about $2,325 with the Wi-Fi. We're going to bump it up to at least about $100 next year for a 10 by 10 spot. Now, for example, Al with Brody's, he buys 4 spots, so he'd be paying $400 for his spot. But so that is something. And then the other thing is we had some cancel, and our policy was after August 1st, and they canceled before, and it's just kind of a big pain. So we're going to look at the cancellations, maybe even put it into, like, you can get half back, because it takes some work on our end to get another check cut to give back to them, and then after, you know, July 1st or something, there's no refund.
I would agree with that.
So we're looking at that, just because this year we had, it was a group of sisters and they all just pulled out at the same time, but we were able to fill their spots, so we weren't out vendors, but it's always a little
creates
stress.
chaos.
Yes.
Creates a headache.
Yes, yes, well, because if they have a trailer and they don't, and it, you know, so. But the rodeo gate, 8,500, we've never, I think if you look, our most we've had was, I think it was in the 6,000, yeah, in 2021.
Have you got another copy of that, or?
It should be behind you. Did I give you a copy?
No, that's
Are you
fine.
going to compare?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, maybe I skipped you. Yeah, so I'm grateful that they give us this spreadsheet so you can kind of see how we've grown. I actually thought the Derby would be a little more on the gates than it actually turned out to be, because there were people everywhere. And even with our new bleachers, they were packed.
Oh, yeah, they were packed. I was gonna say, there was a lot of people that got in that I noticed that did not pay because they claimed they were parents of the royalty and a bunch of that kind of stuff.
So what we do with the royalty is we do the royalty number +1. And that's
They
it.
were letting them all
And they
in.
were letting them. Well, Kathy's pretty good at the gate.
Well, they were not at the gate, they were coming down
The
the
back way.
Oh, the back
I
way.
sat at the gate for a
because
while.
all the kids.
Kathy didn't let anybody in.
Yeah, Kathy
She
doesn't.
wouldn't even let me in.
No.
Like, I didn't want to, it's okay, but I'm just saying. She wouldn't let me in either.
But if there's
And you know
something
what?
the other way.
That's the very worst part of the whole fair.
Is the gate.
They're
I wasn't trying to get either.
the biggest pain, and Commissioner Yardley sat right there with the credit card machine, so he knows how fun that can be. And I'm just grateful, you know, that, Joe comes up from California and Kathy, and to do it, to volunteer, you know,
Right.
that they're worth their weight in gold for
Well,
sure.
I'm just saying, I think that there's still people getting.
Oh,
around it
absolutely,
a
they do
lot.
have,
But, yeah, it's weird because I thought your gates were gonna be more than that this year.
yeah. I thought we would, but that's the number, so.
I can't figure out why anybody would sneak in for $5.
For fun.
For 5, yeah,
It
yeah.
makes no sense at all to me.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then they'll go buy, you know, the wristband or $20 or whatever. That's the next thing I wanted to just kind of spotlight is our carnival. So this year for the wristband, the county kicked in 5, and then, the Carnival Midway kicked it. Their price was $30 for the freestyle. We sold them for $25, so it was a $10 difference. Last year we sold $7,100 worth of wristbands, and it was in the $250. This year it was $504. So it's huge. Like, we doubled our wristbands. And if you, for the, actually, sorry, I probably have a copy of this paper.
And that's pretty good, because on Friday night, you have both high schools
Oh.
are gone,
Yeah.
sporting events, so you have a
Yeah.
lot of
So,
really good.
yeah, I was actually pretty surprised that it was that high, and I don't know, we did do that buddy mill, and it was $500 that went to kind of some surrounding areas. That could have been part of it too.
Right.
But I kind of thought since we had so many pre-sale wristbands that maybe some of our days would have been lower, but they weren't. They were all at or above what we had done before. So, so then we got the $3,103, and that is 10% of the amount above the.
I think it made a huge difference with the good weather too.
Yeah.
That's always,
Yeah.
It wasn't very hot, it was nice, the rain
well,
wasn't.
it wasn't thunder, lightning, and rain.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
a lot of people get scared off over that kind of stuff, but.
For sure, but I think, and I just have, so you can kind of see the donations plus the revenues, we had about 33,000. This doesn't include the junior bridges and the volleyball because, let's see, so I'm just trying to keep my act together right now, and I didn't have that paper. Ginger gave it to me, and I couldn't find where I put it. But, so it actually is a little more than that, but that's about a third of this total care budget. So, like, where it's a community service, I actually felt really good about that.
Yeah.
Then our exhibits, we had nearly 2,000 exhibits. You know, on the open class, we ran out of premium money. We have $4,000 for premium money, ran out, but 4-H had a little bit extra, so I used their premium money, their extra, and we were able to make it, but that's
And I
something
think,
next year.
didn't Jen Marshall give you her cash too?
Yeah.
Little bridges?
Yeah, so some of the cash that she did, and because we did it on Friday morning, so.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, that's a good problem to have because the building was full. Some of the needs, just the tent, I didn't know till the state fair about the wind.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to figure that out, what we want to do.
Right.
The toilets, we've gotta figure out the in the building toilets. Because I fixed them, Dan fixed them, the inmates fixed them, there's always a line.
I've made a few calls, I think we can, that's minimal, I think we can do something.
We just need the
Yeah.
industrial strength.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
You made a few calls.
Yeah.
You call him the backup guy or what?
I called in the toilet guy. I don't do toilets.
I like it.
I have to ask somebody
Got
else.
the guy in the back corner to come knock us out or what?
Yeah, I don't know what the answer is to that, but
Yeah. We have the pressure now, but we just,
I think
levers.
it's just the levers that they put crap in there. So I think.
They're made for a homeowner that flushes 10 times a day instead
And
of,
not 10 times in.
I don't even know that.
Yeah.
The line was wrong.
It was. And we even say, go out to the outside one, they're like, well, the line's clear out the fence there, so, you know, and we thought about maybe next year, maybe we wanna get the trailer that we had, like Hero Plumbing, and put it behind the ground fence, kind of over by the concession stand.
Right.
Over there, so
Well, we
that.
did that, how many years?
We did have it a couple years ago, but we had it more out by the carnival,
Yeah,
so.
but even there, that worked out really good.
It did, so, you know, we have to have those facilities, and so we might be thinking about that.
What, do you remember what that cost?
I think it was $1,000.
But it was a 6-hole, right?
Yeah. So, and it was the one they used at the reservoir, and then it was the same one. So,
Well,
that
they
is
used
something
it up here
at the rodeo.
in
Yeah,
Beaver too.
yeah. And it, you know, they're nice and clean, and it's just a lot of people.
Right.
Have those. So, that's the other thing. And then I'll just go over the budget with Commissioner Yardley at 11. Is there anything else that you?
Honestly, I think, well, always, you know, you guys always do a good job, but I think as far as the restrooms go, I think we put whatever we need to into those indoor ones, and I think we plan on getting.
Yeah, I agree.
Those portable ones.
Trailer.
I think you just line them up every year.
Okay.
Because the ones outside work great.
They do,
You know, if we get the pressure figured out too, but that's also kind of a, you know, I mean, we don't have very many toilets. We're not talking 3,000.
Yeah.
And I do want to just say, and this is totally rough figure, but, you know, the fair, if you plan on, it's about 3 days at 12 hours per day, but some of them are longer, and some of them, you know, plus you've got the entry intake and stuff, the volunteers. And I just did about $20 an hour, but we have about $21,600 in volunteer hours that are donated to
Right.
care.
Right.
You know, my volunteers are amazing.
There's no paid people there.
It's just, you know, it's just awesome that they'll just jump in and help and do whatever we need to
Agreed.
have them do.
You know, most, I have to say, I went up to the Box Elder County Fair, holy crap. I mean, that's a difference what money makes to a fair. Plus they have a huge, you know, it's just huge. I've never seen anything so big in my life. It's bigger than the state fair, I think, but, the volunteerism there is the same as we are, you know, but you have to spend money, and when you go to any of these other rural ones and talking to people like Pike County and Boyer County that are similar to us, right? And, they do a lot of this stuff for free, like there's no entry fees. So what little bit we do get back on, you know, I mean, it's taxpayer funded, it's our taxpayers that are there. I think you've done a remarkable job, and our volunteer people are great.
Yeah, you know, all around, even, you know, we went over to Iron County, we judged their fair, it's probably the last 5 years. We used to like rotate, but lately in theirs, and I'm like, our 4-H department, our exhibit, we probably had triple, if not quadruple, the amount of exhibits that they did in that department. You know.
The per capita stuff, because the building was packed.
Yeah.
Like, I was excited. I like all of it, but then I grew up in 4-H.
Yeah. I know, I mean, we had the addition, but now I'm like, whoa, where are we gonna put this?
We do need to put some money into that roof and get some roofs fixed.
Yes, we need to figure that out, for sure.
That would make some more calls.
Make some more calls.
All right, I got it.
They'd have to climb up there with your caulking gun and plug them holes.
Make some calls.
I'll make some calls.
So, anyway,
Thank you,
for
Al.
everything.
Thanks, Al.
Appreciate it.
Was there anything else as far as the building goes?
No, the other hiccup we had this year, and it was my fault, was, the sound for the Junior Butchers Rodeo and then the stage, and we made it work, and we got it for the next day for the, things, but I'm thinking I might just have, Mike Duffin, just say, this is what we need to do out.
Yeah.
You know, because he's there and he can run it, you know, whereas they were a little worried to come down and leave, you know,
Leave equipment.
and we took care of it, but then it was one more thing.
For a volunteer to worry about.
Yeah. So, yeah, they've been great to let us use it for a few years, and I thought I had arranged it, and it didn't show up, and I didn't think about it until the opening.
Right.
Oh, shoot. So, I talked to Mike, I asked him to give me a bit of, you know, just what it was. I think, looking at what I had, I think I am over budget, but by the time you take the donations off, then I'm still in budget if we get to count those towards our budget. But everything is just costing more.
I know. Yeah.
The rodeo goes up a little bit, but yeah, my budget didn't go up last year for that extra gas and stuff like that. So with the donations, I think I'm still fine, but
well, the canopies and stuff, that's not on you. That maintenance, and those guys are supposed to have taken that down. They just didn't get to them in time. So we need to look for something for next year, decide what we're going to do.
Decide how we want to do it.
Yeah.
She's prepping me for budget talks here at 11 o'clock. I can see that, so I'll be ready.
Well, it's a good problem to have, though. You know, we're bursting at the seams, and just have great participation in that.
It was a great fair.
You know,
Really
when
good
you
job.
run out of premium money, that's a good thing.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it very much. So, what's this large assembly for?
Thanks for asking.
Is it you?
It's me, I'm here.
Oh.
Jen Lakeland,
Well, it
Strategic
says Jen.
Development Director.
Okay, what's this? It says Jen WW, so I thought it was some other Jen.
We've actually already talked about this, yes. So we're just ratifying the
Welcome,
fact that we
Jen. How are
approved
you
it.
this morning?
I am so good, Commissioner. Thank you for having me today.
assembly permit. As I worked through this, I kind of purposely decided to hold it off a little bit so that I could give you a report out after the event so you could see why large public assembly permit is important and how I think maybe we need to start talking about changing this, because this is a very simple form. It requires a couple of questions and a couple of requirements on the event organizer to confirm as far as an insurance certificate and things like that. What I feel like it lacks is some coordinating efforts with some of our other partners. So, in doing my due diligence to prepare for this event, I went out to the sheriff's office and I said, hey, do you have any appetite? The sheriff was in sitting talking and preparing for budget. And I said, I'm going to interrupt. Do you have any appetite for changing our large assembly permit? And he said, not really. And I said, okay, well, let's talk about what's going to happen with the race. We're going to close the road. And he said, well, if you're going to close the road, you need to have volunteers there. And I said, so you do want to see some change in maybe some oversight and having some conversation? And he's like, yeah, actually, now that you mention it, I think that would be good. I said, okay, I don't want to step on any toes. What do you think about Les coming out with the comms sign? He's like, that's an absolute necessity. And I said, okay, great, we can arrange that too. He said, you call us, I'll call us, that way he gets the message from both of us that we want in there. I said, awesome. So one of the things that's interesting about that is Les didn't really have anyone to coordinate with there because the sheriff didn't have staff on hand. We did have volunteers sitting at either end of the road barricade, but we had also noticed with signs on the road a week in advance so the local traffic would know. So I think there are some small tweaks that we could make to this so that the sheriff's office feels like they have everything that they need for any event, and that they can see that the event organizer has done their due diligence. I think it will also help with some of the coordination that we probably need to do with BLM. Because that site is on BLM land, we need to make sure that we're communicating adequately with them on the use of that property. I know that there's going to be an upcoming coordination meeting, so I'm hoping I can kind of sneak in on the agenda on that one to talk about.
The one today?
I might want to ask to sneak at the beginning because I got notification that I need to go to Milford City Council meeting over at 3. So if I could be first, that would be great. I just really want to make sure that as we host these events, I mean, you guys got to see how powerful that event was and how many people were there, and just what a good economic driver that is for this county particularly and for Beaver City. I want to make sure that we keep those good relationships with all of our partners. Our staff has worked so hard, and their staff has worked so hard, so I just want to make sure that we know what they expect from us and what we expect from them and how we can fine-tune this thing so that if something goes sideways, we have the coverage that we need per the large public assembly permit. I think Vaughn will have obviously some say and some input on that as well. So basically you're ratifying what occurred on Saturday, but we had already verbally talked about how it was going to get approved anyway. But I thought it would be really good to bring it today to talk about how the event went, to answer any questions, to get any feedback that you might have for me on how you would like to see this potentially change, if at all.
So do you have the changes already in there for Vaughn to look at, or do you want?
No, I don't. I would be starting from scratch, and
we have a permit already, right?
Yes, you have the existing permit, but we would be adding some stuff to the
Right.
basic check boxes. Did this go to the sheriff's office? Did this go to BLM for any course use on the night before? Those kinds of things. We have already been approached about somebody else wanting to hold an event on that course on the 29th of this month, which is why I'm also bringing this forward kind of now so we can get it lined up and give it a test run real quick to see how that works. So that's what this is. With NICA specifically, they come in on a Thursday, they set everything up, and they were gone by Saturday night. I went up early Sunday morning, and there were still a handful of campers out in the parking in the designated camping spot, but there was not a piece of trash to be found, which I think is incredible given that it's about 4,000 people. To have zero trash and zero cleanup on the county cart is incredible. The only thing we had to do was pull those couple of A-frame signs, and it was great.
So it's like they weren't even there.
It's like they weren't even there. I mean, you can see where the parking area actually is, so you know that the parking area is a parking area now.
Right.
And some of the feedback that we got that the parking area was a little rough. What are you going to do on a first year when it's just been combed over? Luckily, those people got
a little dusty.
Tamped it down. Just a little uneven, but with the cars going across it, it actually tamped it down, and then we'll get a little rain on top of that. And
The road was pretty dusty.
the road was dusty.
Everything was pretty dusty.
I dusty. So I felt pretty good about
So-
our dust.
so no one really complained about the dust, really?
No, nobody complained about the dust. They complained about the uneasiness of the parking, but again, that's a brand new space, and so.
Well, they're off-roading.
They are.
So I would say, I don't remember, we never even talked about the large assembly permit. So obviously, we've not done our due diligence. That should have been months ago.
Yeah, this was actually submitted in July, and it got circulated then, and that's why I was like, well, for me,
Those guys submitted it?
they kicked it over to my email in July, and I sat on it for a minute because I was trying to get all of the pieces lined up and see, my background with Provo, I did event permitting and with Linden, and so I was waiting for like a 15-page document with all of the ticks and crosses, and I realized that this is what this actually was. So part of it was me being new to how your guys' process works, and then me trying to figure out like, okay, but how does this leaf particularly work within this structure?
So, is that
Every road, and we're sorry for the inconvenience or miscommunication, but yeah, typically, and we've had this on our ordinance for years and years and years, and typically, the event organizers will come in weeks and months in advance,
Yes.
present the idea, get approval from the commission, we'll have sheriff's office, search and rescue, EMS present, and we'll kind of coordinate well in advance of this.
And I think this is actually my shortcoming as being new to events, and this is my first event season, because Ginger came and gave the presentation about the same time she submitted this over. And we have had coordination meetings. Ginger actually came and spoke at the tourism council meeting, the travel council meeting, and all the parties were there then too.
This just slipped through the cracks.
So in my mind, I thought that I had lined everything up, but I hadn't lined it up the way you guys typically follow policy. And so like I said, that's me being new and short. And then when I realized, oh my gosh, I was like, well, here we are. Like, we've already discussed this 100 times. This obviously is going to occur, but here's a really great way to talk about what we want to maybe see change in the future. Or if we don't want to see a change in the future, that's fine too. I just want to know what direction you'd like me to take. But in talking with some of the other department heads, they feel like maybe small changes would be beneficial.
Who's the event organizer? Who is in charge of this?
Ginger Hall.
And why isn't she here? I mean, I don't think it's your job to organize her event and to present her event. I think it should be Ginger Hall.
So
She did do that.
she did.
She came.
But see, I didn't know that she needed to have this application when she made her presentation, and that's why I'm saying, it's really me being new and not understanding the flow of things. So, here we are, almost a little bit over a year, and I'm still learning, which I'm incredibly humbled by and thankful for, so.
Yeah, we just felt that have her do that at the time.
Gotcha.
Well, that's as much on us as it is,
Yeah.
honestly, but.
We're just so excited this is going to be a bike race.
Oh, sure, yeah.
It was a great event.
Well, I
think that's what
on
happened.
Saturday night, the dust about choked me to death. There was so much traffic on that road.
Yeah, we did get, there are some critical pieces of feedback that I really appreciate. They had some folks going a little bit faster on 600 north than they liked, and so Sheriff's Office put out the speed trailer. Great fix to it, right? Maybe a little bit more dust than we like. That's a county problem that we can certainly work on an answer to. So I feel like for a first time round, what a huge success, and I'm very, very proud of the work that Kevin and our partners at BLM did. Okay, maybe I'm a little bit of a geek, but to see 3 grown adult men just grinning from ear to ear, looking at all the people and watching the kids compete and just seeing them experience joy was so joyful for myself. And so
I've never seen Kevin so excited about anything.
it was
I've
so
known him
sweet.
for a long time.
Well, and
He put a lot of
Dave,
blood, sweat, and tears in this course. There he is.
Dave and Nick.
Yeah, we're speaking to you.
I mean, truthfully, it was such a great event. They did have a couple of accidents. I mean, it's mountain biking, it's a little bit rugged.
Did we get anybody life-flighted?
We did not, that I know of.
Somebody texted me last night, he said, we heard somebody life-flighted out at bike race. I go, yeah.
So there was a broken arm on the practice trial run on Friday. I don't know about lifeline. I could confirm. I don't believe so. But yeah, minimal scrapes and bruises. They of course bring their own EMS to address any breaks, bumps, or bruises. But
We saw a pretty good wreck.
Yeah, we did at the finish line. Yeah, there was some road rash that was acquired there. But they also coordinated with our local EMS to have the ambulance on standby just in case. And even our AMBO staff said, way to bring high-class people into the county. We really appreciate that. We love that we're staffed doing nothing. And I said, great, I'm thrilled. So I think overall it was a win. Real learning curve for me, but thank you to the three of you for your support and your love of this thing. I hope we get to host 3 different regions next year if you'll let me.
So will our EMS, will they bill those guys?
Yes, I believe that's the way that NICA works it. They work their own local contract with them. The same way they work their own local contract with I've Got Food for the porta potties and the fresh water, the potable water that they bring out.
I know, they are not the ones that made the contact, you are, right?
With EMS?
Mm-hmm.
No, Ginger made those arrangements.
Oh, she did? Okay.
I double-checked it. We double-checked everything because I looked at this and I started getting nervous.
Well, somebody told me that they didn't know about it until Thursday, so.
Oh.
So anyways,
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I'm finding it difficult to find an equitable way to communicate with everyone across the community. I've held public meetings, I've held publicly noticed meetings, I've sent out emails, I put articles in the newspaper. I think you made a really good recommendation that we can mail some flyers in the future, so I'd love to do that as well.
Was there any feedback from the community?
None that I heard. None that was given to me other than community members who were like, yeah, we had our kids up, yeah, we had our grandkids up, oh, my son, daughter, cousin, niece, whatever, races for Nantai, St. George, wherever, and so we came in for the day to do those things.
Right.
So.
I heard some positive feedback from the community. They were impressed with the people that came. And
What was the feedback from the NICA personnel?
They love the course. The course is.
And the participants, I guess.
Yeah, they love the course. The course is the easiest one they've ever had to set up. Our course is a little bit different. It's not incredibly technical, meaning that there's not a lot of hard things for the mountain bikers to complete, but it's a super fast course, and so they love it. The other thing they really love about it is because it's an all participants play sport, so if you show up, you ride. It allows some of the more novice riders to really cut their teeth and gain a little more confidence. Because there's nothing terribly technical out there, it gives them an opportunity to feel comfort and feel fast while they're comfortable.
I kind of laughed because I was there for 2 or 3 hours, but
Yeah.
I went over by the start line, and they were interviewing, as the one group was lined up, and the gal that's on the microphone was interviewing all these girls and introducing them, and one girl says, well, as far as I'm concerned, it's a glorified bike path. And me and Kevin are looking at each other like, you're welcome.
Yeah.
And then the next one is like, I'm looking forward to my fastest lap ever.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like, it was, there's not, every track everywhere is individually unique, right? And so.
we don't want them all the same.
No.
We want a different experience every time.
And I know Kevin and Dave, we were talking, and they were looking at putting some more technical challenges into it, so.
The relationship continues, which is exciting.
Oh, yeah, I think it's great.
Okay, so we need to ratify this permit that's already been, this event's already been done?
The event's over and done with.
So they've already signed everything?
Yes, Ginger signed everything, it's just up for you and Vaughn to sign, so I have that here again, my apologies for being new.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion that we ratify the large assembly permit.
Since it's already happened, I guess I'll second.
Okay, plenty of questions, all in favor?
Perfect.
All right,
There's
thank
that
you.
paperwork.
Next item, if you will.
We can table this one for the next time if you'd like, but I thought we'd better.
Do we not need to give that time today?
Well, we probably should. We've had several discussions about it. I'm not 100% certain that it needs to be included in the draft plan that needs to be noticed, but I would rather do that than not have it in there at all. Especially since these are the agreed upon terms that the inland port came to us with for the $50,000 annually, or the 20% of the 5% administrative cost, which is essentially 1%. That's just so that if in the first year there isn't enough of the increment to charge $50,000, that we get that percentage still. The other line that we put in here is to be reviewed every 5 years. So if we experience exorbitant growth and it overwhelms just the 5 of us working 80 hours a week to reconcile 5 years' time. So this has been seen, it's been viewed, it's been discussed. So I'm just bringing it forward to you today in hard copy format to then kick over to their team.
Did you have any issues with it?
I draft a pretty good one?
Yep.
Thanks. Fantastic.
The only question I had was the 50-year term. That's a long time, but with a 5-year review.
50 years.
25 years. and then it-
25? Okay.
But in the end, it says 50 years, so.
Sorry, I may have had a typo, which would have been probably to count the 40, the 25, and then the 15-year extension, but I'll double check that before we send it off and
You got
review.
50 years in there,
Which is consistency in that.
and there's a couple of typos in there that you
Okay.
got if instead of.
Yes, and I caught those mistakes on the clean copy that doesn't have the draft watermark behind it, but I will triple check this again. Where did you see 50 years, which portion was it in, Commissioner? Second page, Commissioner?
Close to it.
It says 25 right there.
Yeah, it's right above it. That's maybe a number 2.
Oh, I see, it's number 1, term, shall continue for 50 years or until the development fund is exhausted, whichever is sooner. Let me double check that because we do have 25 and 15, which would be 40, so I think I probably just fingered that one.
So it should be 40.
Yeah, let me double check that.
25 with the 15 extension, right?
Correct.
Do we need to clarify that in the contract?
I can, yeah,
Okay.
we can do that. And I'll double check that the 50 years isn't intentional also because the funds, although we only collect for the 15, or for the 25 and 40, we may still have a 10-year addition to access the funds that were collected in that 40-year period. So I'll double check that I didn't misinterpret something there as well.
Okay.
I know that, there was another part that I read, scroll up a little bit, there. Where was it? Okay, right in there. So under C, that last sentence, UEPA may use the 75% differential to support the development of the project area and pursuant to this agreement, share it with a taxing entity that levies the property tax on land within the project. So that's the portion that I was curious if that could be county or city, right?
It would, sorry, I'm trying to find the exact sentence that you.
The very last sentence on C.
Copied. So, double I.
Yeah.
Pursuant to this agreement, share with the taxing entity that levies the property tax on land.
So that's the 75%, not the 25%.
Right.
So.
And that may have been language that came over from another interlocal that had different structured agreements.
I was gonna say, 'cause isn't this the inland port one that everybody's got? And you just kind of carved out our part of it? Or did
So
you?
Spanish Fork is the only, inland port project area that has an interlocal agreement.
Okay.
So knowing that Spanish Fork had theirs adopted, we took theirs and tweaked ours because we knew that most of the language was gonna confirm. So let me double check that portion, double I, does not apply to us. It would, that would be language specific for Spanish Fork. I thought I had carved out all the Spanish Fork.
Well, I don't disagree with it. Because, you know, they should be sharing it with a taxing entity. But I'm not sure if that's something that they would agree with. Because I don't think that, everything else that I've read is UEPA has the 75%, and we just have to approve whatever they use it on.
Yes, we actually have to even ask them for what we want them to use it on, which is great because we really get to drive that conversation. But since I'm triple checking everything, I'll triple check this as well.
So the other thing in E,
Yes,
the parties also agree that the county shall help guide, not should. I would put shall.
okay,
Does that make sense?
I like that a lot. Yep, 100%, love that. Okay. I also, in that last line, use of the administrative fee may be done at the full discretion of UEPA. I want to put in some language for, with the exception of the 20% or the 5%.
Yeah.
That comes to us. Although it is their discretion to join into this interlocal and give that 20% of the 5%, capped at 50,000 to us. Thoughts on that, Bob?
I think though, what I would
With
say.
D in there, that clarifies it.
Yeah, it makes it pretty clear, but I just didn't know if we wanted further clarification on that last sentence. I mean, I think it functions fine.
On the solar side, that administrative cost started with 2% and it's grown to 5%, because let's say it wasn't covering anything that we were doing on the back side of it. So this, I do like the 5%. Yeah. I mean, that is helpful.
But we only get 20% of 5%. But they told us that's.
No.
We don't disagree, we just don't know how to.
The bad
They
part
told us
about
to go
it
some
is
way.
you read, all of this is set under state statute, the way they set them up. And so, yeah, we tried a whole bunch of different things and it basically, as Brandy said, it patted us on our head and said, you're cute.
Not cute.
Not actually. Because it's all under state statute. So this 50,000 is actually more than what anybody else has got.
Correct. And that was because I crunched some numbers on staff time. I calculated 5 of us working 80 hours to do whatever cost it took, and then I said, plus some, because I hope to buy the kinds of technology in the future that will allow us to not have to hand calculate, and so I wanted to have that flexibility to be able to do that. And so they said, you know what, we can see that you're not trying to pad anything necessarily. We see that you have additional costs because you are small and because you do things, because you conduct business the way you conduct business. We feel comfortable with the cap at 50,000, and I said, and I'd like to review it every 5 years just because if this grows the way I can see that it might, the potential for its growth, I would like to be able to renegotiate in 5 years if the workload is 3 times what the 80 hours is that we're estimating now. Plus, it also allows for some reevaluation on the incentives for a 5-year evaluation as well. It acts as a really good trigger for us to do that on the incentive side as well. So.
What if we just delete that last sentence in D?
Sure.
D clarifies it anyway.
Sure.
Yeah, that would be.
Simplifies it a little bit.
I love it.
So, we ready?
We probably ought to clean it up, yeah, let's do
Do
it.
a clean copy and then we have,
That's what I would say.
Okay.
redo it, or.
Are we okay with time?
We should be fine because we can at least put a draft of this into that plan at worst case scenario at best. I think it'll be fine, but if we need
Well,
to.
don't we have our commission, no, our thing's Monday, isn't it?
What?
The
Presentation?
presentation.
2 weeks, October 4th.
I know,
On a
Thursday.
The third Tuesday.
Look at all of us not know what day of the week that is. That's terrible. My apologies.
It's not today.
October 3rd.
All of days. Commission meetings in the morning. That day.
so we can actually sign it that morning.
Yeah, you could have it signed. We can have a draft of it in the packet for the 10-day notice per statute. And then we can sign on the 3rd for sure.
Okay, let's do that.
And hopefully, actually, if I have it my way, I'll get this later today, take it over to them. They'll sign it first, and then we'll bring it back, and I'll have it for you for signature on the 3rd.
Well, make sure, when you get it done, send it to us first,
Yes.
before you send it to them.
Absolutely.
Make sure we haven't missed anything else.
Yes, ma'am, can do.
Okay,
Fantastic, thank you for your help with this.
thank you, looks good.
So you got one more thing, don't you?
I do.
Sorry, we're getting close.
I know, I'm trying to
Okay.
check through. So, as you're all aware, we applied for the Utah Office of Tourism Grant, kind of called the co-op grant. The amount we were awarded this year was $187,500. And so what that requires of us is that we have a 50% match of this. So the county will use $187,500 of the TRT money, and we will be given $1,875. I can't say that number. 187.50. Oh gosh. I still don't have it right.
No, you.
187,000.
Found there. 187,000.
That will come from the state.
500. It's gonna kill me.
You got it. You got it.
It's because it's not what I asked for. What we asked for was $250,000, which is much easier to say. This is what we were awarded. There were plenty of awards in sliding scale, so they all give equitably a percentage instead of fully funding. The travel council is recommending that we enter into this agreement and use those funds to go ahead and match with the $187,500.
Counselor, have you seen this? Do you want some? I did actually. Okay, you know, right,
So,
okay.
question on this,
Yes, ma'am.
with the way state statute says,
Yes.
the use of the TRT money is gonna be, like, we're
Yep.
totally fine with that, right?
Yes.
And then where is this money going?
This money is set right now to go across a couple of different projects. We want to develop, so in previous years we've developed the stargazing campaign, the gravel cycling campaign. This year we want to do a peak bagging campaign. And peak bagging.
What the hell is that?
Peak bagging is a fun outdoor recreation sport where you climb to the summit of a mountain and then you post it on social media because you bagged that peak. We want to actually do something that where if people bag the peak.
You do not want to know where my mind
If
went.
people, we're gonna keep this on track, where if people bag the peak, they can get a coin, like a challenge coin, or like something kind of cool and nifty-gritty to make this, particular county one of those ones that you travel to bag a peak. It's commonly done along the Wasatch Front. Mostly people just do it for social
So you
media
also
bragging.
bag your other
Yes.
things and bring it home with you and
Yep.
dispose of it too?
That's a great question. There's gonna be some rambling responsible messaging that goes into it. We're gonna use sassy.
I'm just like, holy crap, is this like a national park thing?
Nope.
Bag it, and don't leave anything behind.
There will be ramble responsible marketing around all of it, for sure. But peak bagging is one of the things we wanna do. There's a bunch of marketing ads that we do via all the socials that comprises this 187.5. And bunch of other, we pay for, some of the explicit ads. We're gonna be looking at the billboards are part of this, ITV ads, smart TV ads, our relationship with Utah.com comes out of this. Our events actually used to come out of this, but this year I'm suggesting that we do them just as a regular TRT. That way we don't have to get 14 layers of approval for logos on.
What's our total on TRT, like annually?
Year to date, we're on track to get about what we got the year before, which was close to $360,000 in TRT. So this is half of it. And so Commissioner Yardley and I are going to be re-looking into the strategic plan for TRT. There are certain ways that can be spent, and in conversations that we've had before about the snowcat, for instance, we can use it to fix assets like that if it's in our strategic plan. So this has prompted us to look at our strategic plan and really make sure that it's lined up so that we have a clear way to say, yes, we can spend, or we can save the leftover TRT to put to use for items in that strategic plan to meet the code.
But this is a good use of the TRT because we double our money.
Correct.
With this stuff, so it's a good thing.
And it's all reimbursed funding, right?
No.
Separate.
Or is it,
I can-
is the what? Okay, that's what I was gonna say, didn't I read in there that they pay the 75%?
Yes.
and all that
In
stuff?
fact, as soon as we get this signed from y'all, I'll kick this over to our state partners and I'll be able to put in an invoice for that 75% today if it got approved.
So then, do you do all the tracking on this grant
Yes.
and reporting,
Yes, ma'am.
and nobody else?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, yes, I do, because I'm a narcissist about this. but this is one of those things that falls under VistaWorks contract for grant writing and management. So she will keep track of all of her receipts, and at the end of the year, when it comes time to close this, I will take all of the collected data that she has put together and assembled for the grant management, and I will report it to the state. Because we wanted to keep our logins as our logins, rather than turn over our logins to VistaWorks to do it for us. We want them to assemble, compile, and make sure everything's ready to go, and then I put it in the format I kicked it off.
Okay. That was your comment on VistaWorks applies for their own grants.
Yes.
VistaWorks did write all of the grant applications for this grant, including the budget, but that was guided by conversations we had had with them about how we would like to see it spent.
Correct.
Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion then.
Let's do it. I'll make a motion, we sign the co-op grant. 2023 co-op grant. Is that what it is? Yes.
Yes.
2024 co-op grant.
Correct. They have a weird cycle. It runs August through March
Of 25.
of 25,
Yeah.
correct?
Okay.
So it's like 18 months.
Yeah,
Okay.
And that's why, I think that's why we've had some questions about the TRT budget and the income and how that all works, is because this is not,
It goes to
this is a
the
nightmare.
budget. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, I'll second that.
Any other questions?
No.
No, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous.
Okay, I'll get out of your way. That took way too long, I apologize.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Judges, come on up, sorry. We're a little behind. How are you today?
Good. They're good, I'm sure. He's here, that's the main thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Glad to see ya.
Yeah.
My 18th trip for this.
18, huh?
Monday you were shattered, yeah, but we're here quite a bit. This is
Well, who wants to go first?
I'm gonna go first, I got the board at 11:50.
Pull that mic over there, Chef.
Yeah.
Pull that mic around. There you go.
Okay, well, thanks for all that you guys do for the county, all of it that makes it a better place to live, we appreciate it, it's a great county. First thing I have is a new desk, we've had the same desk since, can you guys hear me? Since 1999, some of them are not opening and broken and stuff, and so we got two bids here, just that you can review. The first one, yes, the first one is from the state prison that does them, it's $11,099, and I'll just leave these totals with you. And the other one is from Kirksey's, and they are $13,952.
And that's just for one desk?
No, that's for all of them, there's three desks.
Oh, I was like, wow.
It's the whole, it's the whole,
Yeah.
yeah, it's the whole thing, and so they're $2,800 more, but they're local here, so you gotta decide if we wanna go with Kirksey's or if we wanna go with them. So I'll leave a copy of that with Stephanie here, then you guys can look over on that. Okay? So that's the difference on those, I just feel like we really need those and see if you can do those, so I'll leave that with you, review those. I'll get that to you again, so there's okay, thank you. Okay, then the next thing is just the budget. I think you have that there in front of you. I was asking for $1 raise for Misty Rose and
I don't
Raquel.
think we have a copy.
Don't you have a copy of that? We emailed that in. Did they get that, Ginger, or not?
They did not, well, you have it, whoever has the judges has probably.
I can leave a copy of that. Anyway, they're at $16.33 an hour now. So I was asking $1 more, $17.33 an hour, just so they don't leave me and go somewhere else. They've been here about 2 years, we got them trained well. Was asking that with the COLA, if they give a COLA to that. And then in a few years, all three of us are gonna be gone in not 2 or 3 years from now. 75, they force us out, so we'll all be gone. So Jill Chavez is our court administrator, and she's done a good job training them. We have this Misty Rose from Melford. She'll have the option, if they want her, when Susan retires in a few years, that she can go there and be well trained. And so, anyway, Jill's title is court administrator over all the clerks, those two, and she's done really well, especially since COVID came on and all the responsibility she has for the court administrator. I just have a list here of another court administrator, has like 20 or 30 responsibilities that they have. Anyway, I was asking for her, she's been here 13 years, she's only had 1 or maybe 2 raises in the 13 years, and so I was asking a raise of her for $2.75 plus the COLA. So you'll be able to see that, review that, just because of her experience and responsibility she'll have to train others when us 3 are gone also. Help with the others. And so that's just what I was asking, and I'll leave that paperwork with Stephanie, and guys look that over.
Okay.
We're actually not allowing any retirements.
I know, when we didn't want to, they're forcing us out, no, they just, at 75, they think we've had it, they think we've had it.
I don't feel like I'm 75.
You mean at 75 years, do they say you can't do it?
Yeah, you're through.
So how much time do we have left on each of you? I know.
I have 18 months, I think Janet has 15.
Yeah. You can work till the last day when you're 74, so I've only got 3 years.
Yeah.
I got 3 and a half.
Mine's August. April, so she's
So.
maybe she's got 4 months before me. And Janet's about
A year.
months after.
I got about 3.5 years.
Okay.
And there's some things on the future, in the future that the state has passed. They're combining a lot of courts.
They're trying to get rid of us anyway, and trying to
That's what I
for all
was saying,
attorney
they're trying
judges,
to
you know.
put it on just one per county.
They have been for about 2 years.
They're really pushing it now.
It's just a money thing, where they come up with the money, you know.
Oh, yeah. They have some judges having 7, 8, 9 courts, one judge, like our old circuit judge.
Right.
But the circuit judge thing never worked very well. There was no local caring about the local people like that. But I think we're headed back to that. But it will be an attorney judge. And the state has.
We're still fighting that, and I think we can keep it.
You can, if they don't have anybody put in, like the judge from Fillmore, she's a rancher, the judge over there, Probert, and she's got 2 or 3 courts, and so they have kept her. I don't know how it'll happen with the others.
It's just dealt with Fillmore.
No, they can't pay that. And
Right.
so the county specifically are fighting, and I think they're gonna have that in legislation that the rural counties don't have to.
And I come
That's a
in,
lot quicker.
I come in every day, just the way I was trained, but the new judge that takes my place, I'm sure will only come once or twice a week at the most. You know, probably just once a week or once every 2 weeks, you know what I'm saying, so they won't get the coverage like they have had, so. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, so it's not gonna be what we're used to, you know, so. Anyway, that's all I had, and I'll leave this stuff with Stephanie here.
Thanks, Chad, appreciate
Guys,
it.
thank you, appreciate you guys.
Good luck at court.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, this is yours. You need that while you're in court.
Thank you.
Before Chad leaves, could I bring something up? Chad and I talked about it a little bit. I'm admired Clint Bradshaw, does a great job. He works very close, he runs all over the county, and he's always moving. And he writes so many citations.
Give him the mic.
One of each year. He is excellent, but we've been having major problems in Milford with dogs. Major. I just had to levy a restitution on a lady for $9,000. Some family pets killed a bunch of their goats. And it was awful. The woman cannot afford $9,000. The people who were raising the goats use them as a retirement supplement in their lives. So, we'd had a little boy that was bit on the back of the neck by a cute little fluffy dog that just climbed all over this kid, knocked him off his bike. And every day I see dogs. I wonder if the county could begin some kind of I have a dog. Everybody has, most people have dogs. That begin some kind of an awareness campaign with our public that we need to obey this leash law. The alternative, like for this poor lady that got hammered on a vicious dog at large, is the consequences. County attorney will tell you the consequences sometimes can be horrendous for people with their pet. Their little buddy dog goes and does something terrible. I recall back in the 70s when a herd of dogs, I don't remember if it was your dad's or whose farm it was, rounded up a bunch of sheep and put them into a fence and killed over 150 of them. They smothered. The dogs didn't even bite one of them. They just put them into a fence. So I think people don't pay much attention to the leash law. And I think what we need is through the paper, through the internet, whatever, take care of your dog, folks, because it can cost you a lot of money if you don't.
Well, I think part of the problem is we have the ordinance, but there's nothing really enforcing the ordinance. We have it, but there's no real, unless something happens, until
there's a tragedy.
I can't speak for Beaver or Minor.
Then you get it enforced, but before that, it's just kind of brushed under, that's what kind of.
The old attitude from the 70s when I was a police officer was, I wouldn't have a dog if he wasn't smart enough to get a meal out of a garbage can.
Right.
We have problems. Of course, we have other problems. We have a lot of things to pay attention to, but boy, our job as judges would be a lot better if we didn't have dog problems. Oh, they're terrible. And people don't think they're committing crimes when they let the dogs go do these things.
So let me ask you this. So when the dog is picked up and Clint puts it away or dog in jail, whatever, what's the penalty for that?
If the dog doesn't have a license and rabies, there's a $110 quarantine fee that goes to the state, I believe. And then there is a $10 a day fee to house the dog and feed the dog. And then there's a fee for a dog at large. Generally, on the very first charge, I dismiss the money fine. Everybody's dog gets out. I understand.
But I think that's the lesson. And that's a lot of the complaints that I hear is the people that don't have dogs that are seeing dogs that they just get turned loose with like not even a slap on them. So I don't know what.
They have to have probation. They go on probation. And I was only doing it for like 6 months. My probation is now a year. And they have to sign a probation order saying if their dog is found at large. If the dog is found at large within that year's time, I don't say it will. I say it may be taken by animal control and may be euthanized. I mean, they sign that. And so if it happens again, they go, I can't help it, That
But what is the fine?
It's only a $50 fine for your dog at large. I mean, and I suspend all but $10 of it if they sign the probation agreement, and they have to. I've had them provide proof to me that they have an enclosed container to keep the dogs in, or and I will personally inspect things to make sure that they have an area to do it. That doesn't mean that they don't let it out and it runs to the neighbors and whatever, but if we get that complaint, then they already know because they signed that agreement. If that dog was found at large, the neighbor just has to call him and he takes it away. And sometimes Clint will say, but this really is a good dog and I could house it somewhere else. Leave the county, I guess, do that, but then that owner has to sign that dog over to either be euthanized or placed somewhere else. I mean, we've got a family that just, Clint allowed them to go and the 2 dogs were taken to a farm in Carolyn. But we had to have proof through the court and they had to pay the restitution and had to sign the agreement and whatever. So we do try to have teeth into it. But say
dog this is, and Clint said, you know, and so everybody's at some time may, you know, happen to get out. But, so that's why we give them that opportunity, but they do have to, in my court, and I don't know how the others do it, have to sign a probation agreement for a year. It used to be 6 months, but it's not anymore, it's a year.
And once they get out, half of them aren't licensed or rabies, so we do make them have that done before they get them back.
The very first warrant I ever put out as a judge was for somebody who wouldn't come in on a dog citation. Contempt of court warrant, order to show cause. In my court, I dismiss the first one, everybody's dog gets out. The second one, they get the full fine, and after that, I double it. But with vicious or dangerous dogs at large, it's different. They get one warning maybe, as long as they've had their rabies shot. And if it happens again, the dog is destroyed. I've put 3 down this week. It's awful. I hate doing that, but we have to protect our public. I guess what I'm asking for, though, is a little bit of a campaign to make the people, and some of them will just laugh at you. They just will. The poor ranchers, I've seen dogs that have torn the faces off of cows. I've seen some unbelievable things. Lots of rest. I think, well, I've got somebody paying restitution to Jenna right now. I don't know if that's a dog, that's an auto accident, I believe. But probably 50% of what I deal with is dogs. Other than that, I don't have anything else to present. Sorry, I'll jump in here. Other than we need a chair. Ginger and Ginger.
I'm like, what?
A chair. Our chair wore out.
Oh, your sitting chair.
Yeah.
Chair.
They thought you wanted to be the chairman.
Oh, yeah, no, I've got enough responsibilities. Susan is insanely awesome. She does the work with 5 or 6 people, and Stephanie, when she steps in to help, are awesome. If you're going to give me a COLA this year, would you please not give it to me and give it to my clerk? I'm going to ask that every year that I'm here. I always have. They deserve whatever we can give them. They earn it, believe me. And the wheels of justice will not go around without our clerks. Period. They know what they're doing, and they're great. That's all I have. My budget looks fine. Ginger did a great job extrapolating it. And I thought the chair was going to be a lot more than it was, but what was it, Ginger? Just a couple $100.
The chair, yeah, usually it's $100.
So we can take that out of regular maintenance.
She thought she had enough in also supplies as what was budgeted for this year to cover for a new chair.
We don't spend much, and I don't go to as much training as I used to early on. That's all I had. Sorry. Step on you.
I don't have much. You have the budget, and I know definitely got the budget into you. So the only thing that really changed was, Sis is no longer the tax, Jill is the tax, and so we've got, down at the bottom of salaries and wages, tax hours that can be eliminated. Also asked for a small raise, it says Stephanie is super, and that's all there is to it. She's an amazing clerk, and she does a good job in most of it too. She really does do a good job. And if I didn't have her, I probably would be more than happy to be gone as a judge right now anyway, you know, because she does an amazing job. We are so fortunate. Our clerks are so good. The judges can call the clerks of the different courts, and I mean, we just don't have a problem. We're just fortunate. We know that we are. As far as underneath the travel expense, the tax training costs, that can be eliminated also. That will not have to do that anymore. And it really, thank you, and it really is for the best that Jill is now the tax, because the responsibility, as you know, a previous employee abused the program that Jill is now being able to do, and therefore got herself in a lot of trouble. And it's just best that court that is using that program be the one that's responsible for that program. Because through BCI, you have regulations, and you cannot far as I think for my court, and probably for Dennis's court, we don't have the freeway. So most of the people that we deal with are local people or within the area people we deal with more. We do have some out of town occasionally, but if we do have something that we can't collect a fine on, it's probably much easier than all the responsibilities and the extra costs that come with us to get that program. Just to be able to call a prosecutor's office or call a sheriff's office and run a BCI report on this person and do paperwork that we need to have done without going to that extra cost to be able to have it in our own courts. Where Judge Bradshaw has people from all over the world on the freeway. And it's something that is something that this court does need. Like I say, just to protect others, it's probably needs to come out of this court so they know that they are responsible for those responsibilities that they have taken on. Office supplies, we've had to get copier and have some things, and we got a double screen TV. So things are working well there, and I still do use the paper books, so the master vendor, the office supplies, we still need those. And we always need to keep open for juror witness fees. So there's really, and I don't believe that we really need any capital outlay equipment at this time. I think we're fine. So not a lot to be changed, but I would specifically like Stephanie to be taken care of. If you can, be able to adjust her up or do whatever.
Well, your budget, you've lowered the budget, getting rid of the tax stuff, so.
And I know that it shows on there my travel expense not being a lot. Steph has to, her meeting that she has to go to, and I do attend one, I do the spring conference for Judge Bradshaw, and I don't know if you went to the fall conference this year too. But now they have it set up to where after they have the conference, we cannot do it online anymore, but they record it, and so we can go into our office and we can get all of that information. We can get the hours off from it after the conference is over with.
So you don't have to travel.
So I don't have to travel, which is really difficult. I really can't leave Dave that long. Usually in St. George, this year I ended up having to go leave and come back home and spend the night and go again. So I'm not able to leave. I'm not able to leave my home overnight. So it is great that I'm able to watch it.
So good came from COVID.
A good came from COVID for me.
For all of us, we'll always have hearings online now, it saves a lot of people, so.
Yeah.
Trials are in person, but a lot of the free trials, we do it online.
Yeah, and that's an option. We always schedule it, but if they request to be online, we're able to do that, and so it works out. I think works out for people, works out for ourselves. There were some benefits to it.
I've never met our public defender, but I've talked to him 30, 40 times. On computer and on the phone, so everything remote.
He's doing a good job.
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, it's
He
wonderful.
cut up a lot of cases, and I thought AJ was gonna be, he cut up a lot of AJ's cases that was behind, and I was impressed.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of work.
Okay.
Okay, thank you guys, appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for traveling.
Yes, thank you. Ginger, Board of Equalization?
So this was a good thing
Yes.
because we didn't have any appeals,
So everything got.
nobody appealed anything. So Trent and I were going to be doing this Friday afternoon. He was going to a wedding and I was doing this, that we didn't have an appeal. Because we thought we might get one and we did not. So, and because we just had an audit of, Board of Equalization and abatements and that. When we have not had any appeals, there's not been any minutes, and so I did have a lot to give them, because it's oftentimes that we don't have appeals. And so I just thought, I called on yesterday and I said, hey, listen to me. I said, do you think we need to do a resolution just canceling, no different than what we would do for an election, and just documenting that no appeals came through, let the council let it, and then we have record of it, that it.
So we have
We have a record besides the minutes.
Correct.
Well, that's what this is now.
That's what that is now. I just thought it might be a good historical document for future audits and other records that people might be pursuing for property. And no appeals came before us that year, so.
So we characterized it as a resolution, so hope you'll adopt it, just saying,
Yeah.
no appeals, so we are canceling the session.
Okay, can I make that motion?
Motion.
What resolution number is this?
23-06.
Yep.
2023. Got a motion? Got a second?
She's making a motion.
Oh.
So moved.
Oh, sorry.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Awesome.
The next one's me as well. This is an indigent burial request for, Gita Patel. The mortuary reached out to me saying that they were indigent, had no funds of any sort. And so we will pay for cremation, and that's as much as we'll do. And so as long as you're okay with that, I will disperse $400 to the mortuary to help with that. Indigent.
We have a statutory.
Yes. Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve this burial request.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Anything else from anybody? Ginger?
I do have something, should be enclosed, but I guess we can do it another time.
If we're gonna be closed, we can be closed.
Heidi's got something too, so.
Heidi?
What Heidi's got?
She checked with me and she was asked if we were doing one, and I said we don't have one on there, and she said, okay, I will do it the next time.
Can we do it next time?
She got an email regarding something, I don't know what.
Yeah, it's insurance renewal stuff.
Let's do it next time.
Is it time sensitive?
Yours or the other one?
I don't think it is.
No.
I think that
No.
this could potentially wait 2 weeks.
Okay, let's wait 2 weeks.
Okay.
Thank you, because I have.
Thank you. We don't have nothing
There's
else.
so many
Counselor,
people
you got
waiting
anything?
for me.
Thank you.
Stephanie, anything else?
I put something there in case you wanted to discuss A5, we thought we would get to it, but that's fine, I can